third grade year. My grandma picked me up from school with a Ziploc bag of crackers and cheese, intuitively knowing I'd be hungry for my long day. I laid my head on her lap and kissed her soft hand, thanking her for the snacks. She rubbed my back and played with the tiny curls on the back of my neck that sweated out of my afro puffs. We drove to my house, and I waited on the front porch for my mom to get home from work. Restless, I bopped back and forth on the sidewalk, afro puffed and pigtails, dancing wildly as I walked down the sidewalk. Mesa, my mother. Beautiful hazel eyes and tan skin. The only single mother who owned a business in my small town of Cache Valley, Utah. I looked down the block and could see her approaching on her bike. I knew it was her because she had long golden box braids. A bold choice of hairstyle for a woman of her color and my small town. She hugged me, smelling like crisp air and hair products. She owned a hair salon. Hey baby girl, I brought home that new conditioner for you to try. I always loved when she would do my hair. Well, after the detangling process, that is. She always was bringing home new products, almost in search for the perfect one that would keep us from arguing. I would feel so rebellious when she would comb through my hair, trying so hard not to start an argument. The summer before third grade, I had a Spice Girls themed birthday party this night, and I've been practicing my dance moves all week, with the help of my grandpa, of course. I would love spending the weekends at their house. He would take out his collection of African instruments, and we'd jam out in the den. His white wispy hair, which was normally slicked over, would lose its position, and a tuft would bounce on top of his head. I decided to be Scary Spice for the party. I was intrigued by her bold styles I had never seen before. After looking up photos, I found one with her baby curls pressed and swirled and tiny knot-like buns all over her head. They were called Zulu knots. My mom then parted my hair into perfect triangle sections and began twisting each piece until it was so tight it curled over itself into twisted knots. Trust the process, she would say, when I would get flustered from the pain. I stayed so still with excitement, waiting for the finished look, which she then wrapped in gold ribbon. That evening at the party, I was the talk of the roller rink. Everyone wanted to touch my hair. When a boy from the party got stung outside by a bee, I tried consoling him by telling him to rub mud on it. Something my grandpa had taught me with his holistic health views from traveling the world to places like Uganda and Senegal. No, because then I will look like you, the little boy said. I didn't understand what he meant, but at least I tried to help. Fast forward to the summer before freshman year. My hair had now evolved into massive, luxurious curls, which when I would brush out became 10 times the size. My hair no longer fit in the sinks at my mom's salon. She had to stuff it down in the sinks, just so she could wash it. My new friend Callie, the daughter of the local LDS bishop, had invited me to go to lunch. She was a sophomore in high school and had long blonde hair and blue eyes. I was a little hesitant after our last hangout, which was a sleepover, where Callie had tried encouraging me to watch the Book of Mormon, a low-budget movie about the LDS Church. I faked ill and called my mom to go home. I felt so mature hanging out with the older girls that I agreed to give her a second chance. Callie and her friend Brooke picked me up in their Toyota Tacoma truck where I was squished in the middle. I was envious the way their blonde hair would float around the car in the wind. I looked in the rearview mirror at my perfectly twisted knots, reassuring myself that I looked pretty too. We drove down Main Street and headed to Angie's Diner, the local hangout. We were almost there when we heard a siren and saw flashing lights behind us. "What are we getting pulled over for?" Callie said. I was so scared I couldn't speak. I hadn't done anything wrong, and it seemed like a simple traffic violation. Why was I struck with such overwhelming fear? Callie pulled over abruptly in the parking lot of the A&W, ignorant to the same fear as I was feeling. The police officer walked over to the passenger side of the car. He was a tall white man with a military haircut. His authoritative presence made us all squirm with panic. He asked Brooke, "Please step out of the car." She listened, opened the door, and got out. He proceeded to ask me, "Please step out of the car." I did as he asked, tears welling up in my eyes, but I choked them back as he allowed Brooke to get back in the car. Brooke sat down and put her head down, her hair sliding in front of her face. While I stood there alone and terrified, the officer continued to stand over me with a look of disgust. He asked, "Why are you not wearing your seatbelt?" I looked at him, violence in his eyes, and sweat building between his brow. I then looked down at my feet, short of breath. But wait, how was I the only one out of the car? None of us were wearing our seatbelts. We just pulled out of my driveway a few blocks back and were so into the music we forgot to put them on. Finally, a wave of courage and clarity came over me. None of us were wearing our seatbelts, I stated, alerted to the fact that I was indeed being singled out. He sighed under his breath and asked, "What is your name?" With my fear suppressed and with no hesitation, I replied, "Siobhan Teal Elisa Granny. One of my friends call me Teal. And what is your name?" "I'm Officer Olson. I'm going to give you a seatbelt ticket stating that you were not wearing your seatbelt while driving in the vehicle." I was shocked. I couldn't even drive. How was I being saddled with a seatbelt ticket? "You need to let me call my mom," I stated. He allowed me to get my hot pink Motorola phone from the car. I looked at both the girls, praying they would say something. They didn't. I scrambled on the touchpad. I couldn't dial my mom's number fast enough. "Hey Mom, I was getting food with friends and we got pulled over. The officer's trying to give me a seatbelt ticket." I didn't need to say anything else. She could hear the fear in my voice and she knew her baby girl was in trouble. "I'll be there in 5 seconds. I love you." When I hung up the phone, the officer continued to ask my age, if I had any identification. I replied, "No, I'm 14, and I can't drive, so no, I don't have any identification." The other girls still in the car. He hadn't even acknowledged them, asked their names, nothing. I continued to ask myself, why am I being singled out? I couldn't place it until I realized something was different, the color of my skin. My anger was growing, and my truth was right in my throat. I was ready to scream. "Okay, just one last question," the officer asked. "What race are you?" His face told me he was now just enjoying this. It took all the gumption I had to stay standing. My knees were getting weak with horror. I swallowed all of the doubts and looked him dead in the eyes and said, "Officer Olson, I am black." He then wrote down a big ass B on my citation. After what felt like an eternity and the longest conversation of my life, my mom pulled up in her tan 4Runner. She got out of her car and swung her box braids over her left shoulder. She approached me and the officer calmly and just happy to see I was okay. I leapt into her arms. She held me so tightly. I could finally drop the tough girl act. I pressed my face against her stomach and instantly started bawling. I knew I was safe, and wow, was she about to take care of this. She pulled me off her, placed both hands on my cheeks, and told me to get in the car. I walked to the car, slammed the door, and finally felt safe in the heat of the warm seats. I looked out the window at my moms, who were flying with gestures that were obvious what she was saying. I rolled the window down enough to hear her say, "Why are you pulling my daughter out of the car, intimidating her? If you have an issue, you pull all the girls out and you talk to them. And you singled her out, why?" I rolled the window back up. Callie's dad, the bishop, drove up in his white minivan. His small stature became more apparent once he joined the officer and my mom. Our parents hadn't met before, even though I almost spent a night at their house. The officer greeted him and explained what was going on, his perception, that is. My mom had lost her filter now, and her gestures gave her away. Her lioness was in full force. Through the car window, I imagined her braids turning into Medusa snakes and biting these men's heads off. "So your daughter was speeding and walks away with no ticket while you're giving my 14-year-old a ticket? I think I understand," my mom explains. The conversation dies down with some calm downs from the officer. The men looked defeated from dealing with such an outspoken woman such as my mother. The officer asked her, "Would you like me to apologize to your daughter?" She replied earnestly, You're a grown-ass man. If you feel so inclined to apologize to my daughter, that's on you, but we're leaving." She walked over to the car, and the officer followed. I rolled my window down as the officer approached my window. He handed me my ticket and said, "Siobhan Teal," as he slaughters the pronunciation of my name. "I'm sorry if I didn't realize you were black." I looked down at my ticket and over at my mom. Really? Is that the apology that just came out of his mouth, I told myself? I felt defeated and like nothing had even registered. My mom and I drove home in silence for once, no music playing. I was so happy to arrive home and plopped on the floor in the living room. My mom tossed her keys on the coffee table and sat down behind me on the couch as she said, "Hey T, guess what?" "What?" I replied. "It's time to take out your Zulu knots." I sat, overwhelmed from the day, while one by one she undid my tight knots, revealing the most luscious, softest curls I had ever seen.